My fellow Nerdikins, welcome back to another episode of That's So Nerdy. Today I've got a deck profile working for you, and quick disclaimer, I am working with strictly cards that I have in my collection, as I'm sure you can tell from the physical copies in front of you. I don't like to do deck profiles of something that I can't build, because for me, a big part of the fun of building decks is using the resources that you have and being able to do the best with what you have. So today, we're going to be looking at a deck profile for Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku, Guardian of History. A way better leader than I was expecting it to be honest. Alright, so on the front, he's just Son Goku. And then he's got a burst 3 auto ability, so you'll discard the top 3 cards of your deck. And then when he attacks, you get to add 1 card from your life to your hand and then draw 1 card, which is actually really good because not only do you get to self-awaken because you get yourself down to 4 or less life faster, as the awaken ability right here says, but you also get to draw 2 cards instead of 1, which is always beneficial in this game. And then his awaken ability, if his life is at 4 or less, you get to draw 1 card and then restand an energy and then flip this card over, which is actually a boss ability. It's amazing. So once you awaken him, he gains double strike. Awesome. And then he's got a permanent ability. During your turn, this card gets plus 5,000 power for every 8 black cards in your warp, which is OP in my opinion, especially considering how I built this deck here around the Overrealm ability. So there's going to be a lot of cards in your warp. And then once per turn, place up to 4 black battle cards from your warp into your drop, then draw 1 card, which is also awesome for this deck considering it's an Overrealm deck because it is constantly refilling your drop. So you're able to use the Overrealm ability to bring heavy hitters out. Alright, now let's get on to the actual profile. We're going to start with our first unison. We've got Broly, Super Saiyan Broly, the Rampaging Monstrosity, and we're running 2 copies of this card. I'll set this one down for now. The reason we're running this card is for its add marker ability mainly. So it's got a permanent ability. As you can see, there's no specified cost for it, so you can bring it out with just 1 marker on it if you like, which is awesome. Permanent ability isn't the greatest, but you know, we can deal with that. It's when this card has 2 or fewer markers on it, it can't attack. So if you do pay it out for 1, you don't just automatically have a 15,000 power body on the board. So I mean, it makes sense. And then to add a marker, what you're going to do is you're going to place 2 black battle cards with 30,000 power from your warp into your drop. So that's going to be stronger once I get some more 30,000 power cards to work with. I believe I have some that I'm going to be working with, but I haven't ironed out the kinks because I haven't actually had a chance to play with these decks very much. But this one we definitely know we like. I've got another one on order on the way coming soon. This one's got it's Super Saiyan 4 Son Gohan Beyond the Ultimate. When you activate an Overrealm skill, add a marker to this card, which is awesome because pretty much everything in this deck has the Overrealm ability. And then to add a marker manually, you'll place 2 black battle cards from your warp into your drop, which is going to refill your drop, so you can Overrealm more, which is going to give this more markers, but obviously you can only do it once per turn, but it's still a great ability. And then if you remove 3 markers, it's got an activate main, add up to 2 black battle cards with power between 20,000 and 30,000 from your warp to your hand. Then this card gets 15,000 and dual attack for the turn. So that would bump it up to a 20,000 power with dual attack, which is pretty awesome. Alright, moving on. We've got we're going to be running 2 of those unison as well, but I don't have the other one yet. It's on the mail. It's coming. Then we've got Dende Cry of the Soul, and we're running 3 of these, and we are literally only running this card for the draw 1 ability. That's it. Just a one drop, draw 1, 5,000 combo, so you can use it to combo with also. But that's literally the only reason we're running this, is so we can just keep drawing cards, get those cards that we need to play with the Overwhelm ability, so we can just wipe the board as fast as possible. And then we're running Dende New to the Job. When you play this card, draw 1 card. Place this card in your drop area. If your opponent placed a card in their energy using a skill during this game, choose one of your opponent's energy and its owner and place it in its owner's drop area. And you can do that for 2 energy, and this also has deflect. As you can see, it means that it can't be affected by counterplays, so you could just play it from your hand without worrying about somebody countering it. I'm actually planning on getting 3 more of these so I can use a playset, and then replacing those 3 Cry of the City Dendes, or Cry of the Soul Dendes, and replace those, because the Dende New to the Job is just so much better. And then we're gonna jump right into our super combos. We're actually running 2 different super combos. We're running Temporal Rescue Trunks. It's got Sparking 5, so when you have 5 cards or more in your drop, when you play this card, if your leader card is black, you get to draw a card. Instead of having the life requirement of the next one I'm going to show you, you just have to have 5 in your drop, which is easy to do with this deck. And then Super Saiyan Son Goku Time Patrol Elite. As you can see, it's got the life requirement. If your leader's card is black and your life is a 4 or less, you get to draw 1 card when you combo with this card. Now, the reason I'm running 2 different super combos, like I said, is because I'm working with what I have. This is what I got, and that's all there is to it. Now, next, this card right here, we're running a full playset of, and honestly, in any Overrealm deck, I would suggest running a playset of Vegeta Time Regulator, and you are about to see why. So it's got an auto ability. Once per turn, when you play a battle card using Overrealm, choose up to 2 black battle cards with an energy cost of 7 or less in your warp, and place them at the bottom of your deck in any order. If you placed a battle card at the bottom of your deck, draw 1 card. So that right there is amazing. Amazing to have. Especially if, as you notice, it doesn't have the unique ability. So if you're able to get all 4 of them onto the board, you can do that 4 times when you use an Overrealm ability. And that makes it so it's nearly impossible to deck out. I mean, obviously it's not as strong as the Vegex Leader's ability, but which literally makes it impossible to deck out as long as you have the Sparking 20, or as long as you have Sparking 20, which is really easy to do with Vegex. Next, we just got 2 copies of Vanilla Super Saiyan Trunks because I needed some filler. I'm hoping to get some better cards soon. We'll see. And then I want to get a playset of these as well because it's got an awesome ability. It's got critical Overrealm 3. When you play this card with Overrealm, place up to 3 cards from the top of your deck in your drop area. So that right there makes it so once you play that, you're automatically refilling your drop, so you could possibly Overrealm something else. For example, our next card, which is Unrelenting Assault Trunks, which we are running 3 of, because I don't have 4. I would play 4 if I could, but I only have 3. And as you can see, he's got an auto ability here. When this card is sent to your warp from your battle area or deck, add it to your hand. So when you Overrealm with this card, at the end of your turn, you're forced to send it to the warp because that's just part of the stipulations of Overrealm. But with this card, when you do that, when you send him to the warp from the battlefield, he just comes right back to your hand. and running 3 copies of that, preferably 4, but I don't have the 4th. Running 3 copies of that is pretty dangerous for your opponent, because it's essentially a free card that you can play every turn as long as you're just able to refill your drop, which, as you've seen with both the Unisons and with Vegeta, which I'm hoping to get a playset of soon, you'll be able to refill your drop super fast, and you can almost just murder somebody with card damage. Next we're running Time Choice Supreme Kai of Time. I'm running 3 of these. It's got Overwhelm 4, an auto ability. When you play this card using Overwhelm, look at up to 3 cards. Look at the top 3 cards of your top 3 cards of your deck. Sorry, mushmouth right here. Choose up to 1 battle card from among them and add it to your hand. Then place the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. Now this is awesome because you just get to pick a battle card that it doesn't have any specific energy requirement of your choice. So that's really nice. And because of that, you'll want to pull out some of the bigger cards or the more dynamic cards using that. Say if you don't have Vegeta Time Regulator yet and you play your Supreme Kai of Time, you're able to search out your Time Regulator as long as it's in that top 3, and then you also don't have to reshuffle, which is really helpful. Because sometimes when you have to reshuffle, the card that you needed was right there at the top, and all of a sudden now it's in the middle, or even worse, at the bottom, where you're never going to see it again. Alright, next we're running 3 copies of Bardock the Resolute, mainly because he's got Double Strike. As you noticed from the beginning of the video, my leader is not red, so his first auto ability doesn't apply to this deck at all, but his second auto ability is pretty boss. So once per turn, when your opponent activates a counter skill, whether that's counter attack, counter play, counter, you get to restand him to active mode. So essentially he becomes more power for you, and he can't be attacked because he's been restood. Next, what we're running is 4 copies of Vegeta Demonstration of Might. Now, this one is essentially just in case you really need to draw a card. Say you are really hurting for a negate, like you really need a counter attack, or you need a counterplay, you just need something, and you haven't been able to get it. This helps with that, because as you can see, the activate main, if you choose this card and one of your black battle cards, which is all of them, with an energy cost of 3 or less, which is many of them have 3 or less, send the chosen cards to their owner's warp, then draw 1 card. So running 4 of those, so you can possibly draw 1 card, and plus it's got 15,000 power and 5,000 combo, so it's no slouch on its own. So if you just need a body out there, he can get the job done. But if you say you have another one of him out there, or you have plenty of power on the board, and you need that something little extra, maybe you don't have your Unison yet, or you're just missing a piece of the synergy, you can try and draw an extra card for the turn and hope that you're going to get it. Now we're running 2 Awakened Warrior Bardocks. It's got Overwhelm 4. When you play this card using Overwhelm, this card gains Double Strike for the duration of the turn. So it's 20,000 power. You can drop it as long as you've got 4 cards in your drop. You can send them all your drop to the warp, play them out, hit with the 20,000 Double Strike, and possibly have a game-ending move right there. Especially if you have more than one of them and you're able to restock your drop twice, get him out there, boom, 2 double strikes. Say it's possible you could end the game that way. Now, The choice of running the next card that I'm going to be saying would be 4, but I only have 2 of them, so that's what I'm running. But Trunks, Power Overseeing Time. Every time I see this card, I just love how good it looks. Overwhelm 4, so this one you do have an energy cost, which isn't a big deal. Some of the better Overwhelm abilities, you gotta pay a little extra energy because they're like, if we made this completely free, it'd be a little broken. So he's got Double Strike, and that's if you play him with Overwhelm or not. If you just play him to the board, so you have a 20,000 power body on the board, he's got Double Strike no matter what, so that's awesome. But when you play this card using Overwhelm, choose up to 1 battle card in your warp and add it to your hand. That right there, that's why you want to be rocking a play set of these. Because it says 1 battle card. No energy requirement, just a battle card. And with how much you're overwhelming, that's going to happen a lot. And you may have the best your best boss card in your warp because you overwhelmed him because he was in your drop, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now I have my boss card. All right, moving on. Next one we're running is Burst Energy Super Saiyan Bardock. He's got Overwhelm 4 for 1 energy, and when you play this card using Overwhelm, it gains 10,000 power for the duration of the turn and can attack battle cards in active mode, which can be very helpful. I personally only attack battle cards if they're a real nuisance. I tend to focus more on my opponent's leader to try and just take him out as quick as possible. But I've seen many people try and do the battle strategy where you wipe out all their battle cards as well. So I've seen both work. It happens. So moving on to the next one, we're running 2 of these. We've got Shenron the Wish Granter. He's got a permanent ability that he can attack, so the 25,000 power is kind of useless in my opinion. When you play this card, you get to draw 2 cards, which is awesome, and then you choose one of the other abilities. You can either restand 4 of the 5 energy that you use to summon this, which is also amazing if you have like a combo play in mind. Second one, choose 1 battle card with an energy cost of 3 or less from your drop area and play it, which could be very nice because say you have your Vegeta time regulator in your drop. Boom, you can bring it back 3 or less. Same with, say, boom, Revived Ravager Vegeta. Or even more troublesome, say, Unrelenting Assault Trunks got sent to the drop. Wasn't put in the warp. You could, bam, play him. So that's good. And then it's got a third ability, which once we get more cards, I'm looking for a few more dual attacks to pair this up with. That way I can make the engine work a little more smoothly. You choose 1 of your leader cards or battle cards, and it gets 15,000 power and triple strike for the turn. So, say I get somebody out there that has dual attack, and I also give them triple strike. That's essentially sextuple strike. Which is insane. That unless the attack can be stopped, that's a game ender. And now we've got Super Saiyan Bardock the Tenacious. Oops, sorry about that. It's got Overwhelm 6 for 1 black energy. And then when this card is played using Overwhelm, your opponent can only attack with battle cards once during their next turn, which is a boss ability. And if this card was cheaper, I'd have way more. But it's not. It's a couple bucks a pop, and I just don't have the means right there until I sell some of my cards off. When this card is played, you can't play copies of this card during your next turn, which, I mean, is fine. It's not a big deal. Say you have a play set and they're all in your hand at the same time. It is what it is. Now, we're getting into our boss cards. As you saw, Bardock there was a 6-drop. I'm going to be readjusting these boss cards for sure because I just went with what had the most power. available to me at the time. So I will be adjusting the rest of this, and then I'll give you an update on that as well. But we got Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku, Man on a Mission. He's got Overwhelm 6, no additional cost, 20,000 power, critical, double strike crit. That's amazing. 5,000 combo, and yeah, you can just bring him out. We only have one in this deck because that's all we have available to us, but that would be one you would probably want to run 4 of. That way you could be sure to get it, and it could be a game ender for sure. And we're also running Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, Unstoppable Evolution. This one's got Overwhelm 6 for 2 energy because it's got the added ability of when you play it using Overwhelm, you get to draw 1 card and then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and send it to their warp. Any of them. No power requirement, no energy requirement, ignores barrier. Awesome. And it's got 25,000 power, 5,000 combo. Awesome. And now we're running two of these Vegex Burning Impact Unleashed because they have double strike, and when this card attacks, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and set it to its owner's warp. So it's also wiping the board as well as doing double strike. So that's why he's in here. I know he doesn't have Overwhelm or anything special like that, and he doesn't have the ability to Xeno Evolve because he's the only Vegex in the deck, but that's neither here nor there. Now we're going to move on to the extra cards that we're running in the deck. So, since we're running such an Overwhelm heavy deck, where most everything has the Overwhelm ability, what we're also running is we're running 2 copies of Toki Toki City. And what Toki Toki City does is it's a field, and when you play it, nothing happens actually. But when you play a battle card using Overwhelm, you place the top card of your deck under this card, and then it's got an activate main, choose 3 cards under this card and send them to your warp. If your leader card is black, battle cards you play using Overwhelm aren't sent to warps at the end of this turn. So if I'm able to play multiple cards using Overwhelm, especially multiple of the boss cards, like say I have 3 of those 3 cards stored up under Toki Toki City, I got a play set of, I don't know, Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku, Man on a Mission, and then I'm able to Overwhelm, send those 3 cards to the warp so he stays on the board at the end of the turn, and say I still have 6 energy left. I can play another one onto the board, and that gives me 2 double strike crits on the board that aren't going to be going away at the end of the turn. So I do have more Toki Toki Cities available, but I don't like to run too many field cards, especially ones that aren't destroyed after their abilities used, because then they just essentially become energy fodder, and I'd rather have cards that are more useful available. Next, for our next extra card, we're running 2 Ultimate Blow cards. It's a counter play. You choose up to one of your battle cards and it gets plus 10,000 power and revenge for the duration of the turn. And for those who don't know, what revenge is if a card is the target, or if one of your battle cards is the target of an attack, it destroys the attacker at the end of the turn, no matter what. So for those who are familiar with Magic the Gathering, it's kind of like Death Touch. Hi, Mia. Alright. Next, we're running 1 singular Power Burst, because that's all I have available. I would love to run 4 of them, but this is all I have available at the time, because the rest of my Power Burst are in my Vegex deck, and rightfully so. It's a counter attack. If your leader card is black, negate the attack, then choose 1 black card from your drop or warp with an energy cost of 1 and add it to your hand. Pretty simple. Oh, and you can also add a card from your life to your hand. If you've got it's got Sparking 5. So if you have 5 cards in your drop, you can also add a card from your life to your hand in order to bring it back to, or no, to not pay the energy cost. I mean, to not pay the energy cost. And then next, we're running 2 copies of Time's Judgment, another counterattack. Negate the attack, and then you place the I may place 2 cards from my hand in the drop area. If I do so, add this card back to my hand. So I could bring it back to my hand after playing it while refilling my drop to be able to use more Overrealm ability. Awesome, awesome card for this deck. And then we've got running 2 max power Kamehameha, counterattack, and then you may send 4 cards from your drop to your warp. If you do, return this card from your drop area to your hand, and you can't activate copies of this card for the turn. And it's got an activate main. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost greater than their current energy and send it to its owner's warp. So if they have any evolutions out there, or any fusions, or anything that is more than the energy they have available to spend, boom, you can just send it to the warp. Bonus. Now we're running 3 copies of Instant Transmission 10 times Kamehameha. Another counterattack. Surprise, surprise. This one, you get to negate the attack, then place up to 2 black cards from your warp into your drop area, thus refilling your drop so you can use more Overrealm. And I'm sorry I've said that so many times, but that's what this deck is all about. It's got an activate main. If you pay 1 black energy, you choose 2 cards in your hand and send them to your warp. Then you get to add this card from your drop area to your hand. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Another way to be able to, if you're really hurting for a negate, boom, that's one way to do it. Alright, so for our last 2 extra cards, we're running Time Transmission. We've got 2 Time Transmission G, sorry about that. Running 2 copies of this card. It's got an activate main. Choose up to 1 black battle card with an energy cost of 4 or less in your warp and play it. Awesome, 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 awesome. If the battle card played with the skill has Overrealm or Dark Overrealm, which is essentially the same thing, choose up to 2 of your energy and restand them. Awesome ability for a deck that runs all Overrealm, like this one. Well, almost all Overrealm. As much Overrealm as possible. And I will be adjusting it more so I can run even more. Now for the last one, we are running 3 copies of Dark Plot. And you get to choose up to 1 battle card in your warp with an energy cost of 4 or less and play it. If you use this skill to play a battle card with Overrealm, choose up to 3 of your energy and switch it to active mode. Essentially the same thing as Time Transmission G, except this one applies to Dark Overrealm as well. And this one's only 2 energy. I think this one is only 2 energy because it does cover Dark Overrealm as well. Alright, well, that's going to do it for this deck profile. Stay tuned for more. I have many, many more decks to show you. Not just in Dragon Ball Super, but I will start busting into my Magic the Gathering collection soon, as well as my very feeble Pokemon collection, which I will be working on getting bigger. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked the video, go ahead and smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. And have a nerdy day.